What do they mean by when they say reform?
Well, you know, what strikes me is that the people who call themselves educational reformers, they have captured the vocabulary. They've captured they're winning the framing of the issue. So they're reformers, and anyone who opposes them is against reform and defending the status quo, and you must be a tool of the teachers union. And I always have to say, I don't belong to the NEA, I don't belong to the AFT, but they've captured the debate, the terms of the debate, and the media has bought their explanation. And so they say, I'm a reformer, and what they're doing may be totally wrong, but they're reformers, and we must support the reformers.
So after 15 years or so, have they become the new status quo?
They are the status quo. I mean, we now have, let's say, starting with No Child Left Behind, that's been in place since the beginning of 2002. It's not 15 years. We've now had 8 years of high-stakes testing. We can see the results, which is that they're meager, that they drive bad behaviors, that they ruin the curriculum by warping it and driving out important studies such as the arts and sciences. And there's very little to show for it. So No Child Left Behind, and the legacy of No Child Left Behind is now the Children First program in New York City, Michelle Rhee in Washington. I mean, we've spawned this whole wave of so-called reform that's devoted to high-stakes testing and to privatizing and to dismantling the teaching profession by replacing experienced people with inexperienced people.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I know that there's a film opening very soon called Waiting for Superman. I just wanted to get your opinion and your feelings about it, what you know about it, if you've seen it.
I thought it was a terrific film. I thought it is going to focus Americans' attention on the crisis we have in public education. I think it kind of gave an explanation of what some of the problems are, and I think for teachers and people who are very familiar with the urban school system, you know, they have known these problems for many years, but for many Americans who themselves went through public education, it's kind of a mystery, like what's wrong? Why doesn't it work? Why are there so many problems with it? And again, not that there aren't some shining examples where public schools are working, but many do not work. And so I thought it was great that Davis Guggenheim took on this subject. His last film, as everybody knows, was Inconvenient Truth, and he really awakened many Americans to the problem of global warming, and I think he's doing the same thing for public education. We have got to, as a nation, figure out how to crack this nut, because so many millions of children are not getting the education that they deserve and are entitled to.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Of course.
The forum that I know best is New York City, and the unions have enormous influence on the Democratic Party. And I experienced that personally when the unions, I held hearings on the teachers' union contract, the principals' union contract, the custodians' union contract, and the unions very publicly made it very, very clear that if I did that, they would, bring the full weight down upon me. They spent large sums of money and kind of got the Democratic Party riled up and against me and so forth. And I knew what I was getting into. I'm a good girl.
With the district leadership in San Diego. San Diego has been through its battles over the past decade. It had a leader who, like Michelle Rhee, was very top-down, my way or the highway. When he left, there was more turmoil. The teachers and the district leadership now, the elected district leadership, are trying a new paradigm, and that is collaboration, what they call community-based school reform. They're going to see if they can, working with parents, bring the community together around every school to make that school better. I think that's very, very promising. It's not the model that we see anywhere else in this current top-down atmosphere. The other point is that I would love to see the federal government, of course this is my fantasy, the federal government guarantee that every school in America offered every child in America the opportunity to learn to play a musical instrument. And the reason I say this is because playing a musical instrument, learning to play a musical instrument offers almost everything that you want kids to learn. It teaches self-discipline. You have to practice. Eventually, if you're good enough, you get to do it with others. And there's a great sense of accomplishment. And it's, you know, engaging in the arts. What we have today is, as I said earlier, a radical diminution on the arts, less time for kids to do things that engage their hearts as well as their minds and their passions. And I think that until we can begin to put all of this together, we're just going to be stuck in this rut of high-stakes testing, punishing teachers, closing schools, firing principals. And I would hate to see America lead the world in this really stupid direction.
Eva?
You know, we're spending in New York City $23 billion, so we should be able to have music for everyone. We do at our schools and art, and we have all these things, and we get thousands of dollars less per pupil than the traditional zone schools. So I completely agree with Diane that the arts are critical. But to answer the question, I sometimes think we're looking for silver bullets of some sort, and I don't think it's charters or vouchers. I think it really is about focusing on why the quality of education isn't better, and there are some structural reasons for that. I would point to the monopoly and so forth. But I would argue that the most innovative thing we can do is focus on the grown-ups. Schools tend to think that the reason there are problems is because the children aren't performing, and I think we really need to shift our focus from a policy perspective. Our schools of education are not doing a good enough job in this country. They are not training teachers. It's overwhelming to be a new teacher in an urban school. They're not teaching the classroom management. They're not teaching real-time improvement. They're not teaching the teachers the literacy skills they need or the math skills they need. And we're gonna have to fix that if we're gonna have children succeeding on a much, much higher level. And so I would argue that if we could shift, obviously our end goal is the children, but in order to get to that end goal, we have to have the grown-ups functioning at a really, really high level, and that requires support and training that we're currently not offering our teachers.
My own favourite contribution to this, in case anybody's interested, is the length of the school day and the length of the school year. America, I had children, I lived here for a long time, I had children educated here. America currently has, I think, 3-month-long vacations in the summer, which I think the original purpose was so that the children could go out and help their farmer fathers and mothers collect the crops. And we had a lot of talk this morning about how the problem is that America has an industrial model of education in a post-industrial age. The real problem is that America has an agricultural era model of education in a post-industrial age. Thank you very, very much for your contributions and for a very vigorous and also civilized debate. We now have lunch. I want you all to go very rapidly to the lunchroom because there's still a lot to go on, and please no running or talking in the corridors while you go. Thank you.